See your toenails are yellow, thick, or starting to separate, stop and pay attention. Don't ignore it for one more day. What you see is not just a cosmetic issue. It may be a silent sign that something deeper is happening inside your body. Most doctors treat it with a simple antifungal medication without investigating the real cause. Today, you're going to understand why that can be a huge mistake. You take off your socks and avoid looking at your feet. You haven't worn sandals in years. You've tried creams, nail polish, vinegar, and home remedies recommended by neighbors, but nothing works permanently. Maybe your partner has already mentioned it, or your grandchildren have asked what happened to your feet and you didn't know what to say. But the worst part is not the embarrassment. The worst part is the question that keeps repeating in your mind when you're alone. Is it just a fungus? Or could it be something more serious? Today I'm going to show you the 7 warning signs your yellow, thick toenails may be sending about your health. Those nails are not there by accident. They are like a weekly report your body is publishing. And sign number 5 is the one that surprises most people because it seems completely harmless, yet it can reveal something very serious. Stay with me, because this is important. I'm Ricardo Pons, a researcher specialized in health and longevity. Every week, I analyze the latest studies to bring you practical information you can apply from home. Before we get into the 7 signs, let me tell you about Roberto. He was a 62-year-old retired man who stayed active, walked every day, and took care of his garden. On the surface, he looked healthy, but he had been struggling with yellow, thick toenails for 3 years. He visited a podiatrist, took medication for 6 months, improved a little, and then ended up back in the same situation. He stopped walking barefoot, even inside his own home. Whenever his grandchildren asked about his feet, he quickly changed the subject. He felt ashamed, and behind that shame was something even worse: resignation, as if there were no solution left. When his complete medical history was finally reviewed, doctors discovered something no one had connected before. Roberto had slightly elevated blood sugar levels for 2 years, although he had never been formally diagnosed with diabetes. He was also taking mild medication for blood pressure and had spent decades wearing the same closed work shoes every single day without giving his feet any rest. His problem wasn't just a fungus. It was a combination of 3 different factors that nobody had looked at together. And while only one factor was being treated, the other 2 continued feeding the problem from the inside. I'll tell you what happened to Roberto at the end of this video, but first, you need to understand these 7 signs, because what happened to him may also be happening to you right now, without anyone telling you. Here's something important that should be taught everywhere, yet almost nobody talks about it. A toenail grows only about 3 millimeters per month. That's very little. Every change in color, thickness, or texture reflects something that has been happening inside your body for weeks or even months. Think of your nails like the soil in a flower pot. When a plant turns yellow, you don't paint the leaves green. You check the soil, the water, and the sunlight, because the problem is underneath, not on the surface. Toenails work the same way. Treating only the surface without understanding what's happening inside is often a waste of time. Now let's talk about the first sign. The most common cause of yellow and thick toenails is a fungal infection. Doctors call it onychomycosis, and it affects nearly half of adults over the age of 50. That's millions of people. You probably know someone who has it, or maybe you have it yourself. The fungus that attacks the nails feeds on the protein that forms them. That protein is called keratin. Slowly, the fungus destroys the nail, from the inside out. It usually starts with the nail turning yellow near the edge. Then the discoloration spreads toward the base. The nail becomes thicker, brittle, and difficult to cut. In many cases, an unpleasant smell appears. And because it usually doesn't hurt at first, people ignore it for years. By the time they finally seek help, the fungus is already deeply established. This is where most people make a mistake. They receive an antifungal cream and are told to apply it. But putting cream on a thick nail is like painting a wall without sanding it first. The medication cannot penetrate properly or reach the area where the fungus is hiding. What most people are never calmly told is that successful treatment requires the correct process. First, the top layer of the nail should be gently filed down. Not aggressively, but carefully. Just enough to make the surface more porous. Then the antifungal medication should be applied directly to that prepared surface. In advanced cases, especially when the fungus has spread through more than half of the nail, oral medication may be necessary. This usually means taking prescription pills for at least 3 months under medical supervision. And here comes the part that causes many people to give up. The fungus disappears from the root first. The healthy nail begins to grow from underneath, but because nails grow so slowly, it can take 4, 5, or even 6 months before you notice the results at the top. And this is where many people make a mistake. They stop the treatment exactly when it was finally starting to work, right when the root had already become clean. The key is consistency and patience. If you've had this problem for years, don't expect results in 2 weeks. But if you stay consistent, the new nail will grow healthy, clean, and return to its normal color. And when you finally see that healthy nail appearing from the root, you'll know the effort was worth it. There's something else you should know about fungal infections. Many people catch them in shared humid places. The gym shower, the edge of a swimming pool, or a hotel bathroom. Fungus thrives on warm, wet surfaces. And when your bare foot touches those surfaces, it enters easily. If you frequently visit these places, always wear flip-flops, even in the shower. It's a small habit that can save you years of problems. Now let's move to the second sign. People with diabetes, or what doctors call pre-diabetes, are up to 3 times more likely to suffer from recurring nail fungus infections. 3 times more. That is not a coincidence. Let me explain what is really happening inside your body. When there is too much glucose in the blood, that excess sugar constantly feeds the fungus. It's like having a garden that never stops being watered. Everything grows, including the things you don't want. The fungus has a constant food supply 24 hours a day. But there's more. Diabetes slowly damages the tiny blood vessels that carry blood to your toes. Less blood means less oxygen, and less oxygen means your immune system cannot fight the infection the way it should. It's like having an army without supplies. The soldiers are there, but they have nothing to fight with. Do your feet go numb frequently? Do you feel a tingling sensation that won't go away? Are you thirstier than usual? Do you get tired for no clear reason? Do you wake up exhausted even after sleeping all night? If you recognize some of these signs along with yellow toenails, get a fasting blood glucose test this week. Not next week, this week. In my research, I've found that early detection of diabetes or pre-diabetes can completely change the course of a person's health. Completely. I am not exaggerating. Now for the third sign, poor circulation. Your toenails are the farthest point from the heart in your entire body. They are the last to receive blood with every heartbeat. Think of it like the faucet at the very back of a house, the one farthest from the water tank. If the pressure drops, that faucet is the first one to stop working properly. Only a tiny stream of water comes out, and with that weak flow, nothing can truly be nourished. There is a condition doctors call peripheral artery disease. This happens when the arteries carrying blood to the legs and feet gradually become narrower over the years, like an old hose slowly filling with mineral buildup inside. Water still passes through, but less and less over time. Studies show that 1 out of every 5 adults over 65 suffers from this condition. And many don't even know it because the symptoms are subtle at first. The nails grow very slowly, become yellow or gray, and thicken even when there is no obvious fungal infection. Since there is usually no pain, people fail to connect the dots. How can you tell if this might be your case? Pay attention to these warning signs. Your feet feel cold even when the weather is warm. The skin on your legs looks shiny and tight, almost stretched. You have less hair on your legs than before. You experience cramps in your calves while walking that disappear after resting for a few minutes. If you recognize 2 or more of these signs, speak with your doctor about checking your circulation. Don't postpone it. This is serious, but it can be treated. Circulation can improve with exercise, medication if necessary, and lifestyle changes that are completely within your reach. Specialists recommend walking every day for at least 20 minutes. Walking is one of the best ways to improve blood flow to the legs and feet. You don't need to run, and you don't need a gym. Just walk at your own pace every single day. That movement pushes blood down toward the feet, and over time, the blood vessels become stronger. And if you smoke, this is a good time to discuss it with your doctor. Smoking narrows the blood vessels and worsens any circulation problems you already have. Every cigarette reduces blood flow to your feet. It's that direct. Now we come to the 4th sign, and this is one of the most commonly misdiagnosed conditions of all. It is called nail psoriasis. But don't focus on the technical name. Focus on this. It's an impostor. It looks like fungus, but it isn't. This is the point almost nobody explains clearly. About 10% of people with psoriasis develop it first in their nails before it ever appears on the skin. Before any visible skin symptoms exist, the nail alone may show signs of the disease, and because the nail becomes yellow and thick, it is often mistaken for a fungal infection. People are treated with antifungal medications, nothing improves, and nobody checks whether the problem might actually be something else. So how can you tell the difference? There are clear clues if you know where to look. If you examine the surface of the nail closely and notice tiny dents, as if someone poked it with the tip of a pin, that is not typical fungus. If you see a yellow-orange stain beneath the nail that looks like a drop of oil trapped underneath, that is another sign it may not be fungus. And if the nail begins separating from the skin underneath without severe pain or a strong odor, that may also point to psoriasis. The treatment is completely different. Doctors often use corticosteroid creams and, in some cases, vitamin D treatments applied directly to the nail, not antifungal medications. Treating psoriasis with antifungal medicine not only fails to solve the problem, it can irritate the tissue and make everything worse. If you've spent months or even years treating what you believed was nail fungus and nothing improves, visit a dermatologist and ask whether it could actually be psoriasis instead. The 5th sign is the one that surprises people the most because it seems like it has nothing to do with your nails, yet it actually has everything to do with them. Your body is incredibly intelligent. When it lacks nutrients, it decides very carefully where those nutrients go first. The heart and the brain always receive priority because they are vital organs. Your nails only receive what is left over. Think about the water tank in your house. When the tank is full, every faucet works perfectly. But when the water level drops, the faucets on the 2nd floor are the first to lose pressure. Your nails are like those faucets. They are last in line. Zinc is an essential mineral your body uses to build the protein that forms the nails. Without enough zinc, the nail grows poorly, becomes weak, changes color, and turns fragile. Iron is also important because it carries oxygen to the nail tissue. Without iron, the nail literally does not receive enough oxygen to stay healthy. There are also 2 important B vitamins involved in nail growth, biotin and vitamin B12. Both help maintain the normal structure and growth of the nail. When these nutrients are missing, your nails often reveal it very clearly. Vitamin D also plays an important role because low vitamin D weakens the immune system, and a weakened immune system makes it easier for fungal infections to grow. I want to be honest with you. In my research, I have found that sometimes simply correcting these nutrient deficiencies achieves what years of antifungal treatments could not. Sometimes the problem was not only the fungus, sometimes the body simply did not have the materials needed to build a healthy nail. This is why it is important to ask your doctor for a blood test that checks zinc, ferritin, vitamin B12, and vitamin D levels. It is a simple and affordable test that can reveal much more than you expect. If any of those values are low, your doctor can help correct them, sometimes through food and sometimes with supplements. I am not talking about complicated treatments. I am talking about giving your body what it needs so it can finally do its job properly. Many people spend years fighting a fungus that was never just a fungus. The real problem was that their nails could not grow normally because the body lacked the nutrients needed to build healthy tissue. When those deficiencies are corrected, the nails often begin to grow stronger, clearer, and healthier in texture. Now let's move to the sixth sign: the environment your feet live in every day. Nail fungus only needs three things to grow: warmth, moisture, and darkness. And most people provide all three conditions without realizing it. Think about a closed shoe worn for 8 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week. It becomes the perfect tropical greenhouse for fungus. It provides warmth, sweat, and darkness, which are exactly the conditions fungus loves. No matter how strong the treatment is, if your feet remain in that same environment every day, the fungus will continue returning again and again. It is like pulling weeds from the ground without removing the roots. You may remove them today, but they grow back tomorrow. This is where many people fail during treatment. They focus only on killing the fungus, but never change the environment that allows it to survive. Starting today, alternate between at least 2 pairs of shoes. While you wear one pair, allow the other pair at least 24 hours to dry completely. This is extremely important because damp shoes trap moisture and help fungus survive. Wear cotton or wool socks instead of synthetic materials because they absorb moisture better and help keep the feet dry. After showering, dry carefully between each toe with a towel. This small step makes a huge difference because fungus grows most easily in those damp areas between the toes. If possible, spend at least 1 hour a day with your feet exposed to the air, without shoes or socks. Your feet need air just like plants need sunlight. Allowing them to breathe helps create an environment where fungus struggles to survive. Now we come to the seventh sign, one of the most underestimated causes of thick toenails, especially in people over the age of 55, and surprisingly, almost nobody talks about it. When I mention trauma, I am not talking about a major injury like dropping a hammer on your foot. I am talking about something much more subtle: shoes that are slightly too tight or slightly too short, worn every day for years. With every step, your toe rubs against the inside of the shoe thousands of times. Over time, that constant friction causes the nail to activate a defense mechanism. The nail begins producing extra layers of protein, becoming thicker and harder, almost like a callus. Just as the skin on your hands hardens when you repeatedly use tools, the nail thickens to protect itself from constant pressure and irritation. This problem usually affects the big toe or the smallest toe because those areas experience the most contact with shoes. Unlike fungal infections, the color is often more whitish or grayish rather than bright yellow. The thickening is also more even and uniform instead of irregular. The good news is that this problem usually has a simple solution. There should be at least 1 centimeter of space between your longest toe and the front of your shoe. Stand while wearing the shoe and check whether your toes touch the front. If there is not enough space, your nails are being damaged every single day without you realizing it. A podiatrist can also safely file thickened nails so they gradually return to a more normal shape over time. It is important not to attempt this yourself using household tools because improper filing or cutting can create wounds. And wounds on the feet of older adults must always be taken seriously. There are people who spent 10 or even 15 years believing they had fungal infections when the real problem was simply their favorite shoes, the pair they wore every day for years. Do you remember Roberto? His condition turned out to be a combination of 3 different problems: fungal infection, elevated, blood sugar, and shoes that never allowed his feet to breathe properly. Nobody had treated all 3 causes together. But once all 3 were addressed at the same time, everything began to change. The fungus was treated correctly by gently filing the nail before applying antifungal medication. His diet was adjusted to lower his blood sugar levels. He also changed his shoe habits by alternating pairs, wearing cotton socks, and allowing his feet to breathe for at least 1 hour each day. After 4 months, the root of his nail looked clean and healthy. The new nail growing from the base had a normal color and firm texture without the yellow discoloration from before. Even his fasting blood sugar returned to normal. The improvement did not come from a miracle cream. It came from understanding what the body was trying to communicate and treating every cause instead of focusing only on the most obvious symptom. If you do things correctly, you should understand that results take time. During the first few days, you may not notice any visible difference, and that is completely normal because toenails grow very slowly. However, you may notice that the odor decreases, the nail stops thickening, and the surrounding skin begins to look healthier. After 1 or 2 months, you may start seeing a thin line of healthy nail growing from the base. That is one of the clearest signs that the treatment is working. After 3 or 4 months, that healthy section becomes much more noticeable. Over 6 months or more, the yellow part gradually disappears as the healthy nail replaces it. This process is slow, but it is real. It is not magic. It is simply your body healing once you finally provide the right conditions. This week, I want you to do something simple. Sit somewhere with good lighting, remove your socks, and truly examine your nails carefully without shame or fear. If the yellow color begins at the edge and moves toward the base, it is probably fungal. But do not stop there. Ask yourself what else may be happening. If your nails grow very slowly and your feet are often cold, ask your doctor to evaluate your circulation. If you notice tiny dents on the nail surface, it may be psoriasis rather than fungus, and a dermatologist should evaluate it. Bring these observations to your doctor and ask them to evaluate the whole picture, not only the nail itself, because the nail is only the messenger. The real message comes from deeper inside the body. If possible, request blood tests for fasting glucose, zinc, ferritin, vitamin B12, and vitamin D. Sometimes the answer is hidden in a lab result nobody thought to check before. Sometimes the solution was already there, simply waiting to be discovered. I also want to make something very clear. Everything explained here is educational information and should never replace proper medical care. If your condition has lasted for months without improvement, if the nail changes color rapidly, or if you develop pain, redness, or swelling around the nail, see a doctor immediately. And if you have diabetes and notice any wound on your feet that does not heal, do not wait even 1 day. Those are warning signs that require immediate professional attention. If this information helped you understand something you had struggled with for a long time, share it with someone who may also need it. You may change a life without even realizing it. I'm Ricardo Ponce. Growing older is inevitable. Aging poorly is optional. I'll see you in the next video.